because that's not thinking critically. This guy has an agenda, which is don't quit Blue Sky, and he's trying to get people to not quit Blue Sky under the guise of, hey, listen to me, I'm telling you to think critically. But again, he's not really meaning that. He just means direct your anger here and please don't quit Blue Sky. This is to say that he's telling you what to do, and he's framing it as if you listen to him, you have critical thinking. That's not how this works. You're essentially saying, hey, follow the hive mind and don't question things entirely. Just question the convenient parts. Don't question the rest. Guess what? That's not thinking critically. As a matter of fact, that's not even thinking. That's just following. Now, credit where credit's due. One of the top responses is actually calling out the OP, writing, Instagram isn't making me verify. X isn't making me verify. Facebook isn't making me verify. Only Blue Sky. I'm not angry. I'm just not jumping through hoops to get that one social media site. The OP responds and says, best believe they'll all make you verify soon. There's a lot of age verification laws in Texas. It's just that one of them is directed at the App Store, but the rest requires compliance. So the other social media will comply in advance. And the response says, then we'll quit those too. To get around the age verification, some Blue Sky users are making PSAs like this. PSA, if you see an age verification notice, please use a different Blue Sky client like Witch Sky. It's just funny because there's already this meme of how for some reason Blue Sky users, a number of them from the user base that's left, likes to LARP as if they're witches. So I'm like, of course there would be a client named Witch Sky. Like, wow, daring today, aren't we, guys? The OP gets 214 upvotes, but I love the top comment. It just says, if they require that of me, I'm just never logging in again. So again, while there are a lot of people trying to cope post about what's going on and still trying to get people to use Blue Sky, still shilling for Blue Sky, we are also seeing a growing number of people pushing back against the age verification that's going on. For example, this post that reads, goodbye Blue Sky, no to sharing social security number, credit card, nor driver's license. So yeah, if you want the privilege of using Blue Sky, don't worry, just give us either the last 4 digits of your social security number or your credit card or your ID scan, you know, no big deal. And don't worry guys, you're still totally a part of the resistance, just comply. That's all you gotta do. And that's the latest for Blue Sky. Thank you for tuning in, have a lovely rest of your weekend, and I'll see you in the next one.
This is a man's world! I'm the victim! From that verse, I'm the victim!
The DoorDash girl, Olivia Henderson, is going for a gambit with her open door theory. We're going to do that today on The Legal Mind, so we teach you to be your own judge. I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney. Now, this has been an absolutely fascinating case because this individual, Olivia Henderson, who some of you may know as the DoorDash girl, has seemed to have incited people all around the world who looked at this case and said, this is absolutely ridiculous. This girl, she filmed a man who was incapacitated. He was passed out drunk on his couch.
That's up.
And disseminated online, claiming claiming this guy was harming her, but that backfired as criminal charges were pressed against her for the filming of this man and dissemination of that online, which went viral all over the internet. Now, this has come down to some very interesting arguments as the hearings are now starting in this case, and folks that are attending those are sending me information, and I find it very fascinating that the defense seems to be hinging all their marbles on the open door theory, everything they're putting into this basket, because we haven't seen a plea deal yet, which is the most likely outcome in almost all cases, especially for a first-time offender like Olivia Henderson. But instead, they're going with this open door theory. So what is the law? So the law requires for these criminal charges, both for taking the actual photos, the video, and the dissemination online, it requires a reasonable expectation of privacy. Now, that is something we know very much in the legal world and is very much a subjective thing because in different scenarios, we have different expectations of privacy. So, for example, if you're in your bedroom with all the doors closed, you have a higher expectation of privacy than if you're walking down the street and people were to be filming you while you're walking somewhere in public. And that is material to these charges that are brought in against the DoorDash girl. So what is her claim? Well, her claim was the door was wide open and the man, was fully visible. Therefore, there's no expectation of privacy. Now, this is something very, very interesting. She's also pointing out, and the defense is pointing out, that the customer selected the leave at door option. So she was obligated to come to that door and then see what she saw. So they're hoping that by taking out this reasonable expectation of privacy, saying there was no expectation, this is visible to anybody, that will knock out the charges. Now, as much as they're hoping that,
her public defender challenging the prosecution's narrative she invaded her victim's privacy, an argument he's asking the judge to rule on.
Well, it is reasonable to expect for most people that you have privacy. If you do something to not have privacy, then you no longer have a reasonable expectation of privacy.
as much as her lawyer is banking on that, the prosecution has quite a different angle, and the law is quite different than she might hope for. So first of all, they're going to bank on the fact that the door wasn't fully open, and it seems like there may be some footage from that Ring camera, or perhaps from other vantage points that we can see where she actually opened the door or nudged the door open. And that evidence is obviously key here. So any footage that we have from the Ring camera or any other footage she may have taken that's on her phone that's been discovered, because of course the prosecutors can go through all that data. They can go get all the video they need to be able to prove this. If they can show the door wasn't fully open, then that pretty much bombs her case. I mean, it absolutely takes out any of her arguments and makes her very culpable. But even if it wasn't, that doesn't invite filming. And this is the key here. Even if the door was partially open or even fully open, it doesn't necessarily invite filming. And the one thing that's very difficult to get past, that I think Olivia and her attorney are going to have a lot of trouble, is the intentional filming. At no point does a passed out drunk man have the ability to give consent and say, yeah, it's okay for you to film this stuff. She made an intentional decision to pull out her phone, to record that, to focus, to zoom in on the intimate parts, the parts that people wouldn't want to expose on the internet, to record that and to post it online and to make it go viral. That's all her decisions. She did that herself, so she needs to take accountability for that, which is something she has not taken to this day, and said, no, I did that, I shouldn't have done that. That's very much at the core of this. And the New York state law, when you look at this New York law, it actually is more on the side of the prosecutors. The interior of a private residence, especially when a person is incapacitated or vulnerable, is considered core to your privacy. Even the living room, even places where you could see through a window. And actually, the case law, when I looked into this, there's a case of a woman who was filmed through a small window while she was in a state of undress. Even though that small window was visible to the outside, they was still found that she had a reasonable expectation of privacy and could not be filmed. So the New York law is very strong on this. Even if there's a window, even if someone could see in, it doesn't matter for that reasonable expectation of privacy. This is different from the plain view doctrine that cops use for evidence and for searches. In this, you have a stronger expectation of privacy. Now, what are we looking at for the plea deal? Well, she's facing up to 8 years in prison. Now, that's a long time, but remember, she's a first-time offender, so almost always first-time offenders get a light sentence. So the realistic outcome, if she actually came to that plea deal, would probably be reduction to a misdemeanor with a few months in a local jail, local New York jail at most, with some probation, maybe a couple years of probation with some requirements on that probation. She probably wouldn't be able to continue to profit off of this. So that's the most likely outcome, and I think that's something that they should both work for. So that brings me to my judgment. So in judgment here, the law is still on the prosecution's side. I think New York law errs on the side of the prosecution here, and I think Olivia is still pushing it with this defense. Of course, it's a gambit, and I don't blame her lawyers for taking it. I'm going to be paying close attention to the hearing that's coming up in September, on September 9th, which is going to go into that defense, and we're going to see this as this plays out. But I think a plea deal is still the most likely and favorable outcome for both parties, and we're probably going to see that plea deal take place after they make this defense and try to make this argument, and after they shoot this gambit. If they shoot this gambit and they fail and they don't have enough evidence to back up the fact the door was open, then I think we move to a plea deal. But I want to know what you guys think of DoorDash Girl. How long should she spend in jail? Let me know in the comments below, and I will catch you on the next one.
Humble in victory, gracious in defeat.
Okay, so it seems like there's been a pretty big update to the whole Smug Alana situation, and this has been something that has been a big topic, especially among VTubers, as it really shows off the unfairness that YouTube have really been handing out to VTubers, not only with the ASMR channels we've seen, but also to obviously Smug Alana here, who has been taken down for essentially watching a video that had bugs being squished onto a book, which is content that has been allowed on YouTube. The original content is still up, and apparently she also had another video taken down for a clip that was from a Joe Rogan clip, I'm pretty sure, and essentially her clip got taken down, but the Joe Rogan one was still up, which again just makes no sense. And obviously it seems like she's been getting targeted, but it seems that there's been a pretty big update to this, because it seems like YouTube have actually responded, and well, it seems like the situation has gotten even worse, because she puts this follow-up here to this original post of her calling them out, essentially showing all the removed content that's been taken down, which is just awful to see. And essentially, yeah, she says they responded in DM. They said, don't post videos of killing mosquitoes, it will get you flagged for animal abuse, strike won't be removed. So essentially they're doubling down, if not tripling down, obviously, because she's already appealed it and things like that before. She's tripling down on the fact that or not she is, YouTube is tripling down, sorry, on the fact that she is you know, getting a strike for that one. But they actually do respond about the Joe Rogan clip, which obviously ended up going back up silently, right? People were very, very confused because YouTube had said nothing and the clip just randomly appeared once again, and it seems like things have been reinstated. And well, they actually responded to that, saying that the Joe Rogan clip was a mistake, even though I appealed it and it got rejected for the first time, lol. So essentially what she's saying is she, you know, had the video taken down, then she appealed it, it got denied, which is the appeal. You know, theoretically you would say that, okay, if they're going to use an AI system, right, you give them the chance to appeal it for a human to check it, right? But of course, you know, we kind of just proved here that they don't use humans to check and you know, kind of proof check what appeals, right? Because they're lazy and they don't want to hire anybody to actually do it, right? So instead they get AI to do it, to check work, to check another AI's work, which I guess, you know, you can see how that goes. They're obviously gonna deny it pretty much every single time, and then they admit that there was a mistake on the third time round, obviously after, you know, causing, you know, a scene over on Twitter and things like that, and trying to get them to respond, which rightfully so, of course, right? You know, she definitely has every right to do that, and that seems to be the only way that you can really get communication with YouTube at the moment, which is also pretty ridiculous. So yeah, of course they say that they responded in DMs, and it's bad, right? It's very, very bad, and it really exposes a lot behind the moderation system at YouTube, and how really scummy it is. We say, what a nightmare, I'm so sorry. Saying what hippie at YouTube thinks that killing mosquitoes is animal abuse. And you know, the thing that really you know, confuses me is, why is the original video still up? Why are there thousands of videos of people burning like wasps nests and mosquito nests, or whatever you want to call it, right? And that is still allowed, and they're making tons of money from that. But apparently whenever a VTuber reacts to it, apparently that's all of a sudden against the rules. Why is that the case, right? That's what everybody's been asking. And I'm not really into the VTubing lane, so forgive me if I'm ignorant, but why not post on X, Rumble, and other streaming sites as well as YouTube? This not only increases your reach, but potentially gets you double watches and insulates you from bad or incompetent actors like YouTube. Which again, I think is true. I think multi-streaming is definitely one of the best options for any streamer or VTuber in the space. I think uploading your content to as many platforms as possible to kind of remove that, you know, worry, I guess, of being taken down, or worry of being targeted the way that Smug Alana has been. Because imagine if Smug Alana only had YouTube, right? That would be absolutely terrible. Of course, she still has her stream and things on Twitch, which is good, and Twitter and all of these other platforms, so you know, it's fine. But imagine if, you know, someone only had you know, one platform and it ends up getting taken down. Well, that's pretty bad, right? So that's where you got to kind of put your eggs in multiple baskets. But I think, you know, making the switch from YouTube to a different platform, I just don't think that's very possible. YouTube is one of the biggest platforms, you know, ever, right? So I think it's kind of stupid to not upload there. It's just that, you know, kind of advocating for YouTube to, you know, sort out their rules and to sort out exactly what is going on with their moderation is more so the, you know, problem that people are facing, and people want that to be fixed, sorry. And yeah, it's pretty crazy that it still hasn't been fixed and that they still are doing it, and they won't fix it, right? We know it, they won't fix it. They're just happy with people getting banned like this. It's kind of ridiculous. Saying, yes, mosquitoes could possibly carry malaria that kills 610 annually, but their lives matter. For the VTubers viewing the viral squish talk kills get strikes because the original video is viewed fine. No, that's bad. Saying, didn't know YouTube had mosquito rights activists working for them. I didn't know mosquito lives matter was an actual thing. It's crazy, right? It's crazy that obviously, you know, as I said, these videos are still allowed up. The original content is still allowed up. But as soon as someone reacts to it, apparently that's a problem. And it's kind of gotten to this point where, yeah, people are fed up with YouTube. And not only just over the situation, as I said, with the whole ASMR situation, with other, you know, VTubers and YouTubers being taken down for absolutely no reason at all, absolutely no reason at all, because of the AI moderation system, which is constantly targeting, you know, certain people. And obviously Smugglana just happens to be one of those people that are being targeted, as you can see by this email, right? This email shows all the removed content from her channel, which again is absolutely insane, right? I don't have that many removed content things on mine, and I'm sure many other content creators don't, because it seems like, as I said, she has been getting targeted herself, and it's for seemingly no reason at all, which again is very, very disappointing. But of course, yeah, there has been this whole entire thread kind of showing off exactly what the problem is and exactly how YouTube have kind of failed to help her, because, you know, although I think the ban is coming to the end, I think it has actually ended. I don't know if she's uploaded yet. Let me just double check. Let's have a look. Yeah, although I think the ban has ended, you know, it is one of those things where it is still pretty, yeah, okay, she has uploaded, that's good. So it is back up, but it is a big problem that essentially, you know, she has had to take a week off due to this over literally nothing, right? It's kind of crazy. And obviously such a big channel as well, as you can see there by the stats. You got 7 million views in just 7 days, which is absolutely insane. And obviously they should be treating their bigger creators, you know, and also their smaller creators, literally all their creators, like they aren't some disposable kind of like things that are essentially making their money. But I think the reality is that they are, right? That is essentially what they are doing. And they don't care, right? They'll implement AI where they can. They'll cut costs. They'll get rid of staff. They'll make it so much harder for you to create content as a content creator, and to kind of figure out support systems, and to support kind of any kind of like system at all to help out YouTubers that may be struggling. And it sucks, right? It sucks, and it's only, you know, probably going to get worse, right? With the more AI that they implement and things like that into all of their systems. I mean, it's just absolutely terrible to see. But yeah, that is essentially all there is in terms of a response from YouTube about this. Again, it is crazy that they went into the DMs and decided to do it privately, so that obviously nobody could clown on them for the absolute craziness of why they you know, took down the Joe Rogan clip for a bit, because it was a mistake. And they can't even come up publicly and admit that, which I think is absolutely crazy. And of course, it just shows you that they are very aware that what they are doing is wrong. They're very understanding that this is a situation that could get them a lot of heat and whatever if they were to make this more public themselves. So yeah, it's quite funny to see, to be honest, because I say it's not so funny, to be honest, because, you know, it's kind of sad, but you know, that's just how things are working, and you can kind of see how things are working behind the scenes at YouTube right now. It seems like they are doing their very best to kind of hide a lot of their mistakes, just like this one. But yeah, that's essentially all there is for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, good game subs, use my code Kaza, get 10% off. Again, they got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.
Take a look at these comments real quick, and you will get an understanding of just why so many people are outright pissed with this initial post about Uma. It's honestly, it's bad. It's really, really bad. Now let's get right into the meat and potatoes of this, okay? Nothing says authenticity than coming into a culture and trying to forcibly change it to be completely different. For those that don't know, they are straight up now saying to the Japanese, and there's multiple examples of this which I'm going to get into in this video, but this is a really good example here. They straight up told the Japanese, and when they're coming to translating it into different languages like English, that one of their main presentation boards was saying the challenge was, unlike otaku culture, Garu culture is not well known outside of Japan. And so they say the solution to fixing this problem for people outside of Japan is that we found a parallel culture whose expressions could convey Daitaku Helios' chaotic fun personality, Jin Z. So let me break this down to make it as simplistic as possible. What these translators, or quote-unquote localizers, are actually doing is straight up saying your Garu culture, your otaku culture within Japan is inferior, and so we need to make it dumbed down, change it entirely for the dumbasses overseas can actually understand. Instead of them actively participating in the actual media and participating because they actually love it and want to understand it, we need to dumb it down for everybody can be involved in it, make everybody feel very inclusive. That's what they're basically saying to the Japanese. This is the most outright disrespectful piece of shit that I think I have actually ever seen. What do you mean you're going to actually tell the Japanese that we think Garu culture is pretty much inferior to Gen Z culture? And so we're going to change everything about Garu culture, we're going to change everything about otaku culture, and make sure it's dumbed down and easy to understand for the brainlets within the West. Make it completely inclusive for everybody knows. And honestly, this legitimately pisses me off. Like, guys, I'm actually angry about this, and there is many examples about this situation. Like, I mean, a lot of people are commenting about this, but like, let's get into this one. Like, if you scroll down, actually not even scroll down, we go to the quotes, you'll probably see a lot of people talking about this situation, like this one right here. Look at this. Creating authenticity. A character's speech in English needs to have as much charm and flavor as in Japanese. Solution: we research the character's culture and surroundings and make their voice authentic to real life. Now here's the thing. The whole situation about this is basically saying that they want to do this. This is what they changed by making it authentic to real life. So the top is the plain translation from Japanese to English. This right here is what they actually did. And you can instantly see what they mean by authentic real-life conversation within English. It is an entirely different sentence. This is not even the same sentence. They're literally saying the fan service is unreal. Like, look, I'm a guy that likes fan service, but you don't just start adding things in because you want to. This, you know what this is? This is literally butchering and taking a hold of a vehicle and basically trying to commandeer to do what you want instead of the original operator. And to kind of explain here, they're taking an already pre-established series, trying to hijack it and turn it into their own fan fiction. It is legitimately annoying seeing stuff like this. Like, the fact that they have the audacity to straight up tell the Japanese and everybody else that's actually looking at this that this is about creating authenticity is legitimately insulting. They are legitimately insulting every single person that isn't a brainless. That's what they are doing. Because what do you mean that you're changing sentences entirely like that? Like, I mean, like, this is actually insane. Like, look at this one. This is another good example. Plain translation. That's a great idea. Why not go even further and make it a pretty rainbow curry? The side games translation. Don't paint, let her cook. Why not go all in and make it a Amata, I just put that, forgive me, Amata worthy rainbow curry, forgive me. But basically, as you can see, they completely changed the sentences. They did Zoomer Gen Z speech right at the beginning of it. It's like you can see their intentions. What they are doing is they're dumbing down the actual accurate translations, creating an entirely new sentence that isn't the proper translation, just to add in new Gen Z speech. And instantly, you know what this does? This dates it. This dates the dialogue, this dates the series, this dates everything, and it is legitimately annoying. Like, I'm gonna tell you, I remember seeing this in, like, for instance, in ReZero's latest episode that came out this last